All right, we're just going to start this today. We've had enough talk behind the camera here that we're just going to have the camera roll, a free course of discussion here. I'm Barry. He's Steve from ibuyoldbeer.com, and there's a lot of stuff we talk about behind the scenes that I thought might be of interest to you, the collecting public. One of the things we were just talking, and this may be, we better not start out with something this fiery. How about people that call you and, okay, hello, hey, this is Bill here. I just had my dad's Cinerama. It's making a ticking noise and now it will not work. Do you have Cinerama motors?
Yes, I do.
What do those go for?
Those are $85 shipped.
Ooh, ouch. $85. Can you do any better on that?
For that little motor? That much?
Yeah, exactly.
I didn't think they would cost that much. I said, well, Bill, here's the deal. I have to buy 100 at a time, and I have motors now for 7 different signs, so you can imagine the investment that I have. And I'm not going to do this for nothing, but and even at $85, I'm barely breaking even. And I tell the people, well, I'll tell you what, you can get them cheaper, but you have to buy 100. Well, I don't need 100. And I says, there's my point. I hate to be a jerk about it, but again, I say when I buy motors, it's between $5,000 and $6,000 to buy 100 of them, and take that times 7. Well, I tell people back when I'm working on cars, fixing collector cars, whatever, I don't care what it costs. I'm just happy somebody makes it, because without that motor, you've got a sign that doesn't move. So I tell guys, I said, well, if you're not willing to spend $75, $80 to make for a $2,500 sign, I can't help you. So
exactly. And you can go on eBay, and there might be a seller that has a cheaper motor. But then what happens when somebody rolls the dice on eBay?
Well, you got 2 things that can happen there. One, there was a fellow for quite a while that had found a box full of original motors in a warehouse somewhere, and he was selling them for less money. But you got to remember, those motors also were 60, 70 years old. Well, they will probably work. They're new, brand new, but they have been sitting for that long. So you can pretty much figure out that they may work, they may not. Say they quit 6 months into the deal. What do? You buy another one? By the time you get done screwing around there, buy a motor that's been built less than a month prior to that. It's brand new. It's American made. Yeah, I mean, it's a no-brainer for me. But people look at the dollar figures, unfortunately, sometimes, and they just, $10 less. Yeah.
And the Amazon mentality that's crept into every day, especially a one-man hobbyist for enjoyment shop, I think that's killed the joy and raised the expectations and the unrealistic expectations of overnight delivery, whether that's
instant gratification.
Yes.
Instant gratification. I hate to be the guy, but I tell people sometimes, I says, we're not talking organ transplants here. We're talking a beer sign. And when I was in the car business, I get it. Okay, you have one vehicle. You use that vehicle to bring your kids to school. You use that vehicle to get to work. You use that vehicle to take the wife to the doctor. That is a necessary item to have. I get it. So when you have your car worked on and you need it ASAP, I get that. But your beer sign, to me, that's a luxury. You don't, if it doesn't get fixed in 2 weeks, nobody's going to die. Nobody's going to get hurt. It's one of those things. I'm as much as the next guy. I like to have my stuff all working, but there is a limit to how much you can do with one guy that is basically, doing this pretty much full time now. And there's been several instances where I've had people bring signs into me and call 3 days later,
or stand over your back breathing their hot breath down your back with what do we got going on here?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I thought you'd get it done while I was here.
Yeah. So I mean, it's you have to kind of give them a little tough love every once in a while. And I've had several instances where I've had people call, and after about the 3rd or 4th time, I'll just say, hey, just come get your sign. Oh, is it ready to go? And I said, well, no, but obviously I can't get it fixed in your timeline. You just take it somewhere else. Well, I don't know where else to take it. And I says, well, there you go. And
I've called or texted Steve like 6 or 7 times. I'm just wondering, is everything okay? Well, maybe your timeline and expectation doesn't meet his. And your problem is not his problem. If you want your problem solved, well, Steve could help you, but you might have to have some patience and some realism.
my biggest pet peeve, one of them is, and remember this, people, is when you send me a text message, and if I don't respond within a minute, all of a sudden I get a line of question marks. You want to do that? That's going to be the end of our conversation. Trust me. The phone will suddenly become disconnected. There will be sunspots or something.
Because a crow sitting on the wire in Winnebago.
You send me a line of question marks after I didn't respond after a minute, we're done.
All right. Let's, how about when you have an item for sale, it's not necessarily rare. It's something that you deal in. You have multiples. You may sell multiples a week. It's not a mystery to the person buying it, not to you selling it. Can you send a picture of it?
That's a good one, yeah. I get that quite often, especially on parts, I think. Do you have a logo plate for a large Starry Nice? Yes, I do. How much are they? $40 shipped. Well, could you send a picture of it? Do you not believe I have it? Or do you, obviously you know what you're looking for. You know what it looks like already. Why would you need a picture of it? And I probably could eliminate a lot of this issues if I just went through and took pictures of everything that I had for sale. But again, that takes time, and a lot of times, it'll take me the extra time. So sometimes that request sometimes get moved to the back of the pack. And again, I only have
Limited bandwidth.
Limited bandwidth, for time. And okay, so if you want a picture of that motor that goes in your Cinerama, I have to go out and get that motor, and I have to take time to take a photo. Then I have to transfer it onto the computer, and then I have to send it to you. Well, we're talking maybe 15 minutes. Well, you do that 10 times a day, guess what?
I think now would be a perfect time, too, let's tell the Cinerama story of right now, in this day and age of this video, you don't have any problems selling Cineramas.
Or any Hams thing, for that matter.
Would you say that they sell as fast as you can get them repaired?
Pretty much. For a sign that is made in the thousands, the allure or the collectability of them has not waned, and at the least, and they keep going up in price. And you can maybe find one cheaper, but to have one completely restored, gone through, new bulbs, new starters, new motor, everything fresh inside, knowing that it works when you put it up on the wall, and knowing that if something happens to it 6 weeks, 6 months down the road, I will stand behind it. It has got to be worth something. So I that does help when I go to sell something, but I do not have any problem selling them, especially around Christmas time. I sold 3 of them this Christmas for Christmas gifts, and all I ever get is socks and underwear. But I need to. Hey, I told this one guy, I says, your wife have a sister? That's a pretty nice Christmas gift, and I'm happy to do that. But I say I don't have any trouble selling them at my price, and because I go through them, because they're in nice shape. I always tell people I will not put nothing up on my wall that I wouldn't sell anything that I wouldn't put up on my own wall. So because of that, I don't have any trouble selling items like that. And I think my prices are always been pretty fair.
And should somebody not think they are fair, they always seem to sell. Even this last week, we had just a prime example. Customer wanted a Cinerama. The price was $2,500. Yes, they even sell for more. He wanted to put them out there, but through Steve, fair person, knowledgeable, experienced, not hard to look at, the complete package. Okay. But he came at you $2,500, and his response was it 22? Can you do 2,200?
22 and 2 30 packs of Hams.
Seems like you could get hams at a local retailer. Are you able to get hams Cinerama at any retailer that you're aware of?
Not that I've seen.
Could you get hams at maybe even in the town that you're at?
I do.
It was a cute little offer for a trade, but this is kind of a serious subject of $2,500 Cinerama. So,
And we're talking retail maybe $30 for the 230 racks.
yep.
So, I mean, it's a great offer.
So let's say you're looking at your phone here. You get the text from him. He thinks it's funny. 2,200 plus 230 packs. Meanwhile, what text comes in from a certain lady?
I get a lady on her way down to Sioux Falls. She calls me up. She says, we found you on the website, ibuyoldbeer.com. And my father has always wanted one of those motion signs. He's 60. He's turning 60 in March. And she says, I would love to get him one of those for his birthday. Do you have one? Well, the one that I was talking to this other fellow about came out of the Phoenix collection. It was a really nice original sign. I took and cleaned it up, put new bulbs in it, new motor, and it was original scene, beautiful sign. The one I quoted him, $2,500. And she says, I says, as a matter of fact, I have one. How much is it? And I told her, and she says, I'll take it. And she says, well, where are you located? And I says, she says, well, I'm on my way to Sioux Falls right now. And I said, well, where are you at? She says, well, just outside of Mankato. I says, well, I'll tell you what, if you take the 169 exit, you'll come right by my place. And I says, the sign is here. You can stop and pick it up. Half an hour later, she was in my store, gives me $2,500, and she left. In the meantime, the guy that had offered me the $2,200 and 230 packs of hams, without the question marks, I called. He said, well, what do you think of our proposal? And I said, well, your sign is gone. What? I really wanted that. And I says,
not very badly.
Not bad enough.
All right. This segues in perfectly to shipping. Despite our yelling, sarcastic, long-worded things on our website, please, on Facebook, don't ship. A sign survives for 60, 70 years in the wild. 1 year in any shipper. No, I've got a special shipper.
Oh, yeah.
You don't.
I ship them all the time. No problem.
Yeah, I've never had any problem. Well, you must be a masochist or something, enjoy pain or maybe the attention of posting a box full of shards and pieces, and it's like Humpty Dumpty. There's no put it back together again. It'll never be original like that. And to fight a claim with a shipper is similar to fighting a claim with an insurance company.
I'd rather have hemorrhoids.
Yeah, a root canal.
Yeah.
So if you insist on shipping and you're that one person, by all means, play your game. Go for it.
Knock yourself out.
Yep. But for all the pictures and the stories, and there's no joy in posting those. It's like posting a picture of a car wreck. We're sad. The people that shipped it and thought even whether they...
It's just another one out of circulation. I said, I shouldn't get mad about it, but I do because, it can be fixed, but it's never the same.
No, and why? Look at all the resources, mentally, physically, financially, that you put into... you've got a bargain sign. Oh, ship it. And once I get it, I can make $500,000 on it. But when it comes in pieces, that's gone.
Yeah.
There's a mule system amongst beer collectors, and mule's not the correct word, but it's a good nickname. But we belong to nationwide organizations. Plus, we have relationships with collectors that may be a part of them or not, or relatives, or just people that we know. But for instance, this last week from a post on Facebook, I got a gas globe going out to Bozeman, Montana through the nephew of a friend of mine. And we met and had a nice dinner in Roseville, and I passed off the gas globe. He's going to give it to his nephew who came for the holidays, heading back to Bozeman, and they're going to drop it off. I also have had a Red Wing churn that magically, through the powers of Facebook, yours can be texting, phone messages, but put it in someone's hands that can personally deliver it and ensure that it gets there just as you handed it to them. There.
It does work.
Yup. We cannot.
It takes a little extra, sometimes it takes a little extra legwork and a few maybe texts or messages, whatever. But this is a wonderful hobby, people. And there's people out there, myself, Barry included, that we relish that kind of situation. I mean, I enjoy doing that kind of thing, and I've done it many times. I just, in fact, just last weekend, I met a fella in La Crosse, Wisconsin, with a sign. He wasn't physically or being able to come this far to pick it up, and I met him in Sioux Falls, or La Crosse, and handed him the item, and smiles were exchanged, and hey, it works.
And the beer karma thing too. This was a gentleman that had went through a divorce a few years earlier, and I got called. I don't remember how. I'm not a licensed appraiser by any means. I do.
But you just sleep at Holiday Inn Express, though.
I got that going for me. But through whatever networking, I appraised his collection, helped him out of a bind, and Beer Karma came back. Literally, he remembered that and gave Steve New Glarus 12-pack and another wonderful gift that just, those personal interactions both ensure successful delivery, that it's intact, that your precious item gets to you just how you envisioned it, how you saw it in the pictures.
It doesn't take that long.
No, do it. And it might take a month or two. Have patience, again, with the sign thing. Just have patience.
Mm-hmm. It amazes me sometimes. I'll have somebody, and I say, and obviously the Twin Cities now is basically, it's nothing to, it's 2 hours for me. I mean, it's nothing to, I just drove to Phoenix, flew out to Phoenix and drove back with beer stuff. But I'll have people from the Twin Cities, can you deliver that? I mean, my God, people, if you want something, it's 2 hours. I mean, are you that busy that you can't just come get something? And I mean, I make myself I've met people in Mankato. We're willing to do that to get the item into your hands, other than risk shipping it and trying to get it broken. But just ask. Just not afraid to, don't be afraid to try and network with other collectors. Hey, do you know somebody that's doing this? Notice, that's the key. I mean, it's not that difficult, and just remember, it's just a hobby. It's just a beer sign, but it's so discouraging when something like that, you find the sign of your dreams, and they think, oh, I'll have it shipped. Yes, he can do it safely, and then it comes in pieces, and it just,
it could have been prevented.
Yeah. Accidents happen, but when they're preventable, it really upsets me because it didn't have to happen.
And we don't claim to know everything. We're not even...
Well, you don't.
Self-proclaimed authorities on this. It's beer science. Mm-hmm. But we do like to treat others like we'd like to be treated. And the beer karma thing, the stories that could be told are pretty amusing and fun. It's a small world, a wonderful network of folks. And
boy, is it ever.
So there's our 2 cents for this January Monday. We hope we can cross paths with you down the line. The ham show's coming up in Medina in February, a month. So rather than listen to us on your phone or video, come see us in person. Let's exchange some stories and beer signs. I'm Barry.
I'm Steve. And if you like our videos, let us know, because we've done a few of the fixed ones, and I've gotten great comments on those, and we enjoy the hell out of doing them. And if we can help somebody out there, a new person, experienced person, whatever. And again, we don't know everything, but I've been doing this for close to 50 years, and Barry's been doing it for a long time also. So again, we don't claim to know everything, but we've been around the block a little bit, and we're here to help, and we enjoy the hobby. It's not a hobby, it's a passion. Don't kid yourself. And we love to share it.
And nothing sucks worse than to hear about a new and passionate and, comet of a collector streaming into the hobby, and they buy a repop or something that's been misrepresented, or they've been deceived, and that takes all the starch and passion and makes them guarded and jaded, and, ask questions before you bite off, especially more than what you can chew, or something that's a little uncomfortable to you. And if it seems too good to be true, so many things on Facebook. A person with 2 first names, they just joined a week ago, and they've got 3 shots of a sign that's really rare and it's half price. Well, don't fall for it.
Red
Ask
flags.
Yes.
The big problem is with this hobby, especially the hams beer stuff, it has become so popular, and so the prices have become so volatile. People put the blinders on, and sometimes they don't. I run into that with cars a lot. People would bring cars to me and say, well, hey, I'm thinking about buying this car. Check it out. And I said, well, don't get pissed if I show you the faults in it. And I would pick out the faults and I'd show it to them, and they'd buy it anyway. Because they were so blinded by, they wanted this so badly that sometimes they will pay for something that is represented or something that isn't real. Don't be afraid to ask questions. And I says the Hams Beer group on Facebook is full of wonderful people of all levels of expertise. And I say, you put a post on there, you'll have an answer within minutes, honestly, as to whether this is legit or not. It's hard enough to make money nowadays, but I says when you're dealing with a hobby, it's fun to get a new piece, but just be careful, because there is a lot of crap out there, and there's a lot of people that are willing to take your money, and that's what happens when things become popular. So, main thing is, I say, don't be afraid. And I know not everybody likes Facebook, not everybody's on, but that group on there is wonderful. There's several other groups, but there's great guys on there, and I've yet to see. We won't tolerate it in our group, but there's no what are you posting that crap for? We don't tolerate that at all. It's all levels, and we welcome everybody from the guy that starts collecting yesterday to a guy that's been collecting 50 years. So don't be afraid to get on there and ask questions, and we're not going to embarrass you or anything like that. I won't. I'm one of the moderators, and I will not stand for that. If anybody does that or any bullying or anything like that, see you later. You're out of here. So yeah, this hobby does not need that. So.
And when you come to a cabin, you're always better to dangle your toes over the dock and test the waters first in a small way and meet the people, rather than you wouldn't go running, well, some would, off the end of the dock head first and, risk breaking your neck. Take baby steps, ask questions, seek help. That's why we're here. So we've hit the 22-minute mark here. That's all. Till next time. See you guys.